What is going on, guys? Lanh here from Android Authority, and we've taken a look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab 4 7.0, which is the smallest tablet of the bunch. But now it's time to step it up a notch and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab 4 8.0. Alright, so I want to start this video off with a quick disclaimer and let you guys know that a lot of the stuff that was mentioned in the review for the Galaxy Tab 4 7.0 is going to be echoed throughout this review for the Galaxy Tab 4 8.0, mostly because these two tablets are essentially the same thing. There are some minor differences outside of the display size, and I will mention what those are, but other than that, they're really pretty much exactly the same tablets. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So let's get right into it, starting off with the design, and it's exactly what you might expect from a Samsung device. It's entirely made of plastic, and it features the same fake leather texture on the back that Samsung has adopted since the Note 3, but it doesn't really feel like leather, it just feels like hard plastic. It's a little bit thinner than the 7-inch model, coming in at 8mm, and it's fairly lightweight, making it easy to hold for long periods of time. Just make sure to hold onto it carefully, because while the back is textured, it actually doesn't help all that much in terms of providing extra grip. Despite the plastic construction, it feels very solid in the hand and doesn't look so cheap like many Samsung products tend to do. Samsung's always been known for imitating other materials with plastic, namely chrome, and the Galaxy Tab 4 lineup is no exception, but they've actually done a great job with slimming down the chrome to a very thin lip around the bezels. I've never been a huge fan of Samsung's continued use on chrome on all of their products, so I'm hoping this slight design change is going to be something that continues onto their future products, like maybe the Note 4 or even the Samsung Galaxy S6. All the ports are located on the top, bottom, and right sides, leaving the left side completely blank, but on the right side you'll find the standard power and volume keys, which are very tactile and responsive with great feedback, an IR blaster in the middle for controlling your TV, and a micro SD card slot which supports up to 64 gigs if you need that extra storage. On top is a 3.5mm headset jack, and following along the bottom is your standard micro USB port. On the front above the display is a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera, and that's pretty much all there is at the top. There's no notification light or ambient light sensors, so it's pretty basic. Along the bottom is Samsung's standard button layout with their signature home button in the middle, with capacitive recent apps and back buttons on the left and right, which for some reason aren't backlit, so they're a little bit difficult to find if you're using the tablet in the dark. On the back towards the bottom is two small slits for the single speaker, and it's the same exact speaker that can be found on the 7-inch model. It's not the loudest thing in the world, but you really shouldn't expect it to be. The sound is decent for what it is, but to be honest, it's nothing that's going to blow you away, and the placement on the back means you'll have to have the tablet face down when you want to listen to music, or have the tablet propped up in order to not muffle the sound when watching videos or movies. Flipping back around to the front is the 8-inch display with a resolution of 1280 by 800. It's not the same super high resolution and pixel dense display that can be found on Samsung's Pro series of tablets, so you're definitely going to notice pixels, especially when reading text or playing games. And with the same resolution spread across a slightly larger display, the pixel density does take a hit, making pixels a little bit more noticeable. The display overall is still rather enjoyable though, as color reproduction, viewing angles, and outdoor visibility are all quite good, making playing games or watching movies a very pleasurable experience. Due to the 8-inch display, the overall size of the tablet is a little bit larger than its 7-inch brother, which is to be expected, so it's not going to fit in your back pocket like the 7-inch model would, but it'll still easily fit in a book bag, and the relatively thin bezels on the side make it really easy to hold in one hand and operate with the other, which is something that you can't do quite as easily on larger tablets. On the inside, the Galaxy Tab 4 8.0 is being powered by a 1.2 GHz quad-core processor with 1.5 GB of RAM, and 16 gigabytes of internal storage, which is double what you get on the Tab 4 7.0. So if you need that extra internal storage, then it might be better to spring for the 8.0. The specs aren't mind-blowing, but it performs well through regular everyday tasks like swiping through home screens, opening up apps, and multitasking with very little hiccups. And I'm not exactly sure what it is because the specs are exactly the same across the entire Tab 4 lineup, but the lag that I encountered within the gallery on the Tab 4 7.0 doesn't exist on the 8.0. The gallery opens up immediately and scrolling through the photos isn't choppy and slow, and I was able to play graphically demanding games like Dead Trigger 2 without frames dropping every few seconds, so I can't really explain why the 8.0 performs considerably better, but I'm not really complaining. The camera around back is a 3 megapixel fixed focus shooter with no LED flash, so it's a very basic camera. It's there if you really want to take pictures with your tablet, but I imagine that most people will be sticking to their smartphones for picture taking on the go. The camera interface gives you only the essential features, so the functionality is very limited compared to what you would get on something like the Galaxy S5, but you still get some of the most basic and useful shooting modes like beauty face, sound and shot, panorama, sports, and night mode. Picture quality is exactly what you might expect from a 3 megapixel camera. They're very low resolution, so you're not going to be able to zoom and crop without losing a lot of detail. Color reproduction surprisingly looks decent though. It's pretty accurate and true to life, but other than that, there's not much else that's good about this camera. It performs best when outdoors, but once you go inside, photos become extremely noisy, especially in low light, and the fixed focus makes it virtually impossible to take clear close-up shots. Next up is the battery life, and the Galaxy Tab 4 8.0 is packing a 4,450 milliamp hour battery, and during my time using it, I was very impressed with the battery life. I consider myself to be a very heavy user when it comes to tablets. I primarily only use them for gaming with a little bit of YouTube watching and browsing the web. But even with my usage, I still managed to get a couple of days out of it with close to 7.5 hours of screen on time. So I'm pretty satisfied with the battery life, and I have no doubts that with regular everyday usage, you could easily get at least 3 to 4 days out of it before having to recharge it. On the software side of things, the Tab 4 8.0 ships with the latest version of Android 4.4.2 KitKat with Samsung's TouchWiz interface on top. And TouchWiz is still TouchWiz with all of the nature sound effects that you know and love, but it's a much lighter version of TouchWiz compared to what you get on something like the Galaxy S5 or the Pro line of tablets. There's no camera shortcut on the lock screen, fewer toggles built into the notification shade, and most notably, Samsung's My Magazine or Magazine UX is not present here. The more useful functions of TouchWiz, however, are still here, like multi-window if you want to be able to truly multitask, palm swipe for taking a screenshot, and smart stay to keep the display on for as long as you are looking at it. Samsung's TouchWiz isn't necessarily my favorite skin out there, but it's really not all that bad. It's certainly gotten better, but there's still some things that need work, like the settings menu with its tabbed interface that makes it difficult to quickly find what you're looking for, and the folder animations that only get slower and slower the more apps you have inside the folder. The Galaxy Tab 4 8.0 is available now in both black and white for a price of $270, but it's currently on sale right now as of this video through Amazon for $240, so if you want to take advantage of that, now might be the best time to do it. Personally, I still think a tablet like the Nexus 7 is a better bang for your buck, unless you really need that micro SD card expansion and a slightly larger display. But with a Nexus 7, you're getting a higher resolution display, a faster processor, updates directly from Google, and a slightly better camera for whatever that's worth. But there you have it for the Samsung Galaxy Tab 4 8.0. It's another mid-range tablet from Samsung's Galaxy Tab lineup, and while it offers decent performance, an overall good-looking display despite its resolution, and great battery life, the price tag might be tough to swallow even if it is on sale right now. It isn't a bad tablet as far as tablets are concerned, but it is hard to recommend, especially with competitors offering considerably better options for less money. But that is pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up down below, and also subscribe to the channel, which is also down below. And once you're done doing all of that, make sure to check out the website at androidauthority.com for more in-depth coverage. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and keep it locked on Android Authority, as we are your source for all things Android.